Hello, and welcome to another episode of You First. That's right, it's about you, and yes, you. I am your host, Shawanna Kennedy, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to come to you each week to what? Talk about who. We already know the who, and all of this is you. And you know what? What I'm going to do right now, because I have a special guest that is joining me today. She's a young lady that is a college professor in engineering, right? All of those things. She gets to do all of those things. She's a wife and a mother. But just in case somebody, you had a crazy week, you had a crazy month, and I want you to know, because what I do sometimes with some of my guests, what I want you to know, yes, I am cheering for you, and it is not anything to be look cheesy or they be like, wait, well, why is this adult woman doing it? That's right, because I have found along the way we have to be okay to do what? Cheer for ourselves. If you know me or if you don't know me, I'm going to help you to even understand what that means. When you ever see me with a pom pom, what it stands for is power over mindset, power over me, because we have been given power and authority. That's right, power and authority to be our best selves. And it is time for you to step into it. If your person is saying, well, okay, Shawanna, I get you, I hear you, I do this. Yeah, but there's always something else that if we really look a little bit closer, that we can tap in just a little bit more to make sure that we are doing what? Making ourselves a priority. That's right here on this station, on this channel. This show is dedicated to all things self-care, mental well-being, right? And personal development. And yes, along the way, we want to empower you. We want to give it to you. We want to look, I want to lean in and lend you, if need be, a little bit even of my confidence that is needed so that you can make the right choices for yourself first. I say it. Everything we do, it affects not only the people around us, but it affects our community. That's right. Talking earlier, even with some of my other colleagues, we were having a conversation. People were talking about, self-talk, self-doubt. Did you know that it's you versus you? So I'm super excited. She is waiting in the wings, and I want you to hear from my guest today. Yes, Dr. Jessye Talley. She is an assistant professor. That's right. What? In engineering. Yeah. I'm super excited that she is here. She paused for the cause in her day to have a you first conversation with Shawanna Kennedy and what? Viewers like you. So let's get her in here. Welcome, Dr. Talley.
Hi, yes. Thank you for having me, Shawanna.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We were talking before the show, and this young lady has even in what she gets to do. We understand that because we're women of faith, and we know that God allows us to do the things that we do to get to impact the world, even if it's the world right in our own neighborhood, right in our own community.
Yeah.
Dr. Talley, I need you just to share with us, right? I talked about engineering, but I want them to hear from you. What exactly do you get to do, and what even led you to tapping into a career in engineering? Say hello.
Absolutely. So hello everyone. Thank you for having me today to be able to share with you. So you heard that I'm in actually industrial and systems engineering. And so what led me to this degree program is actually I was interested in fashion design originally. And so I didn't go to school for that. I ended up moving into engineering because my parents had me in a lot of STEM programs, so that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so it was always like a part of my life. And so I did a Google search back when it was dial up. And industrial engineering was more people centered engineering and more of the business engineering. And you could design and things like that. And so I was like, oh, well, I wanted to design with clothes, so maybe this might end up being good. And so what was funny was I actually was able to meet two different people. One person was actually at the institution that I went to, which was North Carolina A&T State University. And I met him at a conference while I was in high school. And he was saying, "Oh, you should come to our department." And I didn't really think anything of it at the time. And I really didn't know about IE then. And then another person I met was at another conference. And her name is Dr. McCauley, Pamela McCauley. And she was actually working on her dissertation at the time at Oklahoma State University. And she was actually the first Black female to graduate in our discipline from that university. And she came to be like the keynote speaker. And so when I think back to those moments, it didn't really connect until recently that, oh, wow, like maybe it was meant for me to go in this direction. And so once I got into school, like I never looked back. I love everything I was learning about
Mhm.
process improvement. We focus on making things more effective and efficient, different types of systems. We can work in any industry. I'm specifically doing teaching right now because I wanted to give back and because of what I've seen and the privilege that I've had and doing all these different programs and being connected with people. And so I wanted other students to have those same type of resources.
I love that. One thing you was even saying too is you said you had opportunities, but you then when you got into it, you said, I never look back. This is you first, and you said, nope, I'm grateful for opportunities and the things that my parents. So thank you, mom, dad,
Yes,
that really do make the sacrifices to, do the best that they can to put our children's future first and make those
absolutely.
sacrifices. It is so saying, what can you even talk about a little bit when you think about you first and you said never looking back? Talk about that. This is you first, right? Almost anybody around the world could be looking at this and in almost any
Oh,
industry.
yeah.
Yeah, talk about not
So,
never looking back.
so I guess like as I'm getting older, and you kind of you should look back, and it's sometimes we don't because we don't take time to reflect. And when I do take the time to reflect, I see how everything was all connected.
Hmm.
And we don't really see that because we're trying to figure like, oh, where we're going, where are we going, or what's happening, or why am I going through this? But if you look back, which we don't like to do, and sometimes it's a negative connotation with looking back, right? But if you look back, you will start to see how everything is connected in your life. Like that's
Hmm.
the biggest thing that I can say. And as I continue to go on, I'm like, okay, like I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm with the people I'm supposed to be with. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so all these little people along the way that I've met, like they've helped me to get to this point. And so that reflection piece is important because it helps you to kind of be able to make those connections, see where you are, see what limiting beliefs you might be having at the time that are preventing you from moving forward, which is really crucial because sometimes we get to a ceiling and that's because of those limiting beliefs. And so we have to find that reflective time to try to work through what is really going on. Like, why am I really feeling like this? And so that's something that I've kind of been sitting with as I'm going about life and just getting older. Yeah.
I like that. See, again, listening to what you're saying because it's so true. When we allow those limiting beliefs to hold us up, having a conversation, even with all that you get to do and grace to do, when you think about but I'm supposed to think about me in there. And when it comes to my self-care, when it comes to my personal development, right? Outside
Right.
of, being able to impact the students that you get to each school year, it's like,
Right.
man, how do I look that belief of, yeah, you're a wife. I said at the top, you're a wife,
Mhm.
you're a mom. But now it's like navigating those waters, creating this balance of navigating that space of the
Right.
limiting belief that I gotta work like I'm a Hebrew slave because I'm a wife and my husband he has things that he needs me to assist him with in our
Right.
home. I have a child who requires my attention because they're a minor child. They need their
Right.
mother. It's
Exactly.
and talk about what does that look like navigating that space and adding in that limited belief where how we already know what we were taught. You do all of these things and then if you got time, then you think about you. Talk about that for me.
Absolutely. So that's something that I've really been working on, right? And I can't stress enough how important And what I'm seeing now as I'm making certain changes, how important it is for you to take time for yourself. Like, if you're not doing it, like, you need to do it right now. Like, put 5 minutes in on the calendar right now. So one thing that I've noticed is when I do take that time, just to show you how important it is, when I do take that time, I can show up for myself, but I can
Mm.
also show up for others better, right? In a better mood, in a better way to be able to really like think or connect them to resources, right? When I'm not myself, I can't perform at my optimal. So that's something we talk about at IE lot. Like, what's the optimal way the system can kind of operate? So I can't be at optimal if I've been pouring out into everyone else. And
So
we
how
need
do you
to.
ever have those conversations even with your some of your colleagues or even some of the students? So what is like some of your strategy? Because I love that you said yes, we
Yeah.
have got to even plan. Yeah, because some of us are extremely busy.
Yes.
You do, yes, if you're a calendar person, if you're look, I will send myself
Right.
a message in a heartbeat. I love our smart devices because they have those alarms. They have the things that say it's time to stand. What are some of the practices or the things that you do, especially when you are in that hectic, uh, school day? What are some of the things with all of the planning, right?
Yes.
Curriculum, working out all of those things. What's some of the strategies that you do for your self care?
So I try to around lunchtime when I'm eating. I try not to work during lunch if
Mm.
possible. And I try to take that as a time as well to kind of do devotional or to just have like I'm not doing anything. I'm just eating and just enjoying my meal. I also try to plan meetings at a certain time. So maybe, or I may say like I have certain things I have to do during the day, right? But I may have other people reach out to me outside of what's the normal. This is what I have to do. So in that sense, I have like a strategy where I'm like, okay, how many things per month in two buckets? So if it's like outreach
Mm-hmm.
or if it's like a research collaboration or research type meetings or talks, it's like I'm only going to take on 2 to 3 extra things out of these two categories a month outside of what I already do because I don't want to get bogged down. Because what happens is it's like people will reach out to you and you're like, oh, yeah, I'll do this, yeah, I'll do that. And what I was noticing was that I would have like a full week and it was just like, when do I have time to sit down and do nothing? Like it was like I was packing it out. And so now it's like, no, I'm only taking outside of what I have to do, which is all the normal meetings and classes, and say, okay, I'm only doing 2 or 3 extra things a month, and that's it. And so that helps me not overload my calendar because I'm like, I can't do it all. And then in terms of like my students and even at home is communicating, right? So we
Mm.
all need that downtime. I know with me and my husband specifically, we kind of communicate when we kind of need some time, or if we have something that we have coming up, we're like, okay, this week I have these meetings, or I'm going to be out of town, so I'm here. Or we may say, I need this time. I'm gonna go and do this. I just need this time to chill out. And we do that. Like if he comes home, he's like, okay, I'm going downstairs. I'm playing on the Xbox for a little bit to just have decompress. Okay, I have, my son. I go upstairs, we're doing something. And we just balance that out. And when you do that for your spouse, like you kind of learn the ebbs and flows, like, okay, I know he needs this. So, and you can pick up on that yourself and be like, no, I think you should do that. Like, even this weekend, he went out of town because our church is not local. He went there and I said, yeah, you should go. They're doing a Father's Day thing. You should go. And I stayed home with my son and he got rejuvenated. And now he's showing up as his optimal self for our family, right? And
So
I'll
wait
do
a
the
minute.
same thing.
Hold up. You said because let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You are an established African female, right? You got some things going on. You've been married for a few years, but you guys are also look. Are you millennial or you Gen X? Wait. Which one?
I'm a millennial.
Okay, see, right. We got
Hmm.
a millennial who
Yeah.
married a few years, and you have a young child, and you just said, yeah, I let him go away, even for look a big weekend. He's still a young father, and you like, no, get out of here. And it's
Right.
like you said, what you notice is by allowing him, because it's the communication. We know no,
Right.
you're not the boss of another adult, but it's that
Yeah.
communication in a marriage. I get it. We actually, through God's grace, we actually will celebrate 22 years married, being together 23
Yeah.
years this year. So cheers.
Wow.
I get it.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's having that communication and even being in alignment. You was talking
Right.
about that, and part of it is an alignment because you say you kind of you can feel it. Seeing with me, it's
Yes.
being here we go. This is what's big when you talk about self-care, when you talk about putting yourself first, when you talk about you first, it's even being present. You have to be present enough to even recognize to say, no, I'm going to encourage him, right? I'm going to encourage her to,
Right.
no, we don't have to do that together. Matter of fact, I am insisting that you go
Yes.
away, that you get that time because I'm secure in us and what's going on here. And I want you to do that so that you
Right.
can come back stronger.
Absolutely.
I love that. So is that something that you always worked on in your marriage, or you said, okay, we because of our communication, we've grown into it and we kind of just know now.
So we've grown into it, and then I think too, as we're doing different things, because he's actually working on his doctorate as well. So we're kind of in this place where things are picking up. We're getting more people, asking us to do things, and even at work with me, like now, I actually moved to the next. I will start in terms of moving to the next rank in the fall, which is associate professor. And so I'll have more responsibilities I have to take on. I'll have to probably travel a little more and things of that nature, right? And so it's like, as we know, like we already said, we know it's getting busier from here. So it's like we're trying to put things in place to make sure that, we're all still connecting and we're not being overtaken by one thing. And another thing on top of that is boundaries, right? Super
Mm,
important. Being able to say no and be okay with it. And that took me a minute. I'm gonna be honest, it took me a minute to be okay with telling people no. Like just being okay that I
why?
said no.
Why? Why do you
Because
believe?
it was like I don't know, it's sometimes depending on how you grew up, right? You feel like it almost makes you feel like you're in the wrong for saying no. But you're not. You're taking care of yourself. That's really taking care of yourself to do something that you don't really want to do or you don't have time to or you feel like you might be forced to do right at the time. But you can say no, you can put up that boundary or say even in terms of time, right? So not even the no, but time with my students. On the weekend I don't answer emails. Like that's kind of a boundary with them. Like I'm not working on the weekend or I'm not responding to you. I'll respond to you on Monday. Or the same thing with my colleagues at time. Like if somebody calls, like you don't have to pick up the phone.
Mm,
You
no,
can respond to them when you want to. So, and that's showing them how to interact with you as well. So you're training people. Like this is how you need to respond to me, or this is how you need to treat me. And so you shouldn't feel bad about that. You shouldn't. And so now I'm doing much better about those no's and those sticking to those boundaries in terms of time because just like I mentioned before, that's how I am able to spend time with my family and to do all the other different passions that I have is putting those time boundaries in place and making sure people know like this is how we will engage, this is how we will not engage. So that they'll know that this is, kind of how I operate.
I love it because it is. I often say it to help other people, leaning into saying we teach people how to treat us every single day. That's right. We teach them. And then along the way, because like you mentioned how we were raised, in some of how we've been raised, and if you may be a little bit more soft spoken, right? I'm pretty sure I probably had a big personality all my life. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. But then I also was never a child that I was one that required to get scolded a lot either, because I was quick on learning my lesson.
Yes, me
So
too.
really, I was quick on learning that. You wasn't about to get me 2, 3 times with the same thing. If y'all
Yeah.
get what I'm saying, you wasn't about to get 2 or 3 times with the same thing. So I kind of learned that, if the stove is hot, it really is hot quick. I learned that real quick. With that
Yeah.
is us retraining our own brain as we teach other people how to treat us every day. And those things do show up in the way we work, right? And that is why it is so crucial for us. It is such a key that we show up as our authentic self out the gate. Because if along the way you're saying, why was I always saying yes? God knows, no, I don't. I really don't. It's not even that I don't
Right,
have time. I don't want to do it. I don't. I don't want to do it.
right,
It's not. It's not in tune with what I'm doing. Right. It's not in alignment, and it's not working towards what's my current goal in this season of my
right,
life. It is thinking about those things. And that is why we have to tap in. We have to touch base. We have to not wait till the end of the year to then say,
right,
okay, this is what I'm about to do next year. No, it's saying if you
right,
need to do once a quarter. So here's a tip, here's a strategy for somebody. If you need to once a quarter, that one day a week, or even at the end of the day, you can open your planner. If you don't have one, get one. If you don't journal,
right.
journal. At the end of the day, be sure to, even at the top of the day, I'm all about gratitude that sets everything for me. See the
Definitely.
things that you've done that day, really make a number of what those things look like, what those things feel like, to then say, well, how many things on my list that I actually did that were for me and towards that goal. Not that we are not here to be of service. I'm all
Right,
about that. I say, but that first service has to say, how are we serving ourselves so that we show up, as Dr. Talley was saying, as our optimal self in the other things we get to do. And so with you being a mom, you being a wife, you being, and a professor, and I'm understanding the right along that way. It's even look, it's levels to this. It's levels the same way you said it's levels to
definitely.
professor, is levels to self-care. Nobody comes out the womb with that, because of course, if you come from someone in a family, a guardian who nurtured you along the way. But if
Mhm.
most of us who's even watching this, that's not how we were
Right,
taught. Not most of us.
exactly.
So we have got to say, what can I do right now in this season of my life? Dr. Talley said, what did you say? You said for lunch, you really make an effort to say, I'm really going to enjoy my meal, even if it's for
Right,
the 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to even tune into me spiritually and
right,
say, if I need to read a Bible verse, if I need to just have
right.
a moment of meditation, you hear that?
Yeah,
That's what she was saying. That's what I
yes,
picked up on. I
definitely.
picked up on to those things. So even with your spouse, even with your mate, heck, even with your family, your siblings, to say,
Yes,
respecting our time, respecting our boundaries. What,
right,
and those are the things that we hear it all the time. And people be like, yeah, everybody's saying the same thing. But if everybody's saying the same thing, then there has to be some truth to it. It's
right,
finding that mix with you first, making you a
right,
priority, putting you back on top of the to-do list of your life to say, what does that really look like for my personal development? Remember, this is all about you and your personal development. So, Dr. Talley, again, I appreciate you pausing in your busy day, your busy schedule, because I know
yes,
there's other professionals who they saying, yeah, I hear all that, Shawanna. Yeah. But here is a college professor, wife, mother, and she's telling you how she's been able to do it, how she is constantly working on that mix. So I'm
yes.
excited. And before we get ready to get out of here for this episode, I would love for if you have any final thoughts that you just let us know. And just if you have any tools, if you have any strategies, any tricks, any hacks, I would love for them just to have that time with you. Yeah. Over to
So
you.
like to tell you is something that I've been doing recently, and I've kind of talked about it. So that meditation, taking at least 20 minutes, even if it's in the morning or throughout the day, to just sit in stillness. And you will be surprised how much you will hear, how many ideas will start generating and insights just because you took the time to pause. Sometimes we're just too busy to be able to hear. And you make sure you have like a journal nearby to be able to kind of write down what that is as after you come out, or you could do it during as well. Because sometimes it's hard for us to remember. But just take time to reflect and then try to come up with a system that works for you. That's super important with your lifestyle because sometimes we try to fit into what other people are going to do, and it's easy to see all those different tools, but they may not work, or maybe you may need a combination of what they have done. And so I would just encourage you to kind of figure out, take the time to sit and think about what do you need right now and value yourself enough to make adjustments, to make self-care a priority and to put yourself first.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's right. It's so important. And you know what? I was even thinking too, because I want to hear it. Do you ever get overwhelmed? Like, what does that look like real quick? Like, I know, like,
Oh,
some men
yes.
be like, oh my God, like, help them real quick. They be like, oh man, that's right. I mean, that's why you have to stay till the end because stuff be happening
Woo.
from beginning to end.
I do.
Oh,
And
it looks like help
I
them.
do. I do. I get overwhelmed a lot with all that's on my plate. And so, what I just told you about kind of slowing down, taking that pause, but also for me, I have to have a schedule. I have to have something that kind of shows me like a plan. And one of the things that I do at the beginning of the week, so actually on Sundays, I do weekly planning and I plan out my whole week. I write out each day. I write out everything that I'm going to do. So I look on my calendar on my phone with those things that are put in on the calendar. I put those down and then some other stuff that might not be on there. And I map out everything that I'm supposed to be doing this in throughout the week. And so then I just stick to those things. And I try not to put 20 things on there because it's really hard to do 20 things, but you should try to stick to like your top three things out the week. Just three, and make steps to get you to reaching that and putting that back down at the bottom of your list to be like accomplished or to cross it off. And so sticking with that weekly planning, knowing what I'm supposed to be doing, that has helped me to be super productive
I love
and
it.
not overwhelmed.
Yeah, because it's real. We're human, right?
Yeah,
And then, we get to look that self talk, not only self doubt, but self talk, because a lot of us have talked ourselves out of some stuff. And it's
absolutely.
like being honest and recognizing what it is. And so when it does try to creep in, you are familiar with it enough to then say, okay, when I'm feeling this, these are the things that help get me back on track the fastest because
Right.
there's some unhealthy ways to do that, but then there's also some healthy ways. Look, we say if there's a wrong way to do some things, and there's definitely some right ways to do things.
Yes,
So it's like remembering what those things are for you, and if you don't, make sure you are being a part of a community, a group of people in the places
absolutely.
to help you to then lean in being your most optimal self so that you can get the tools, the tips, and the know-how to be a better you in this season of your life. Again,
Right.
I want to thank you, Dr. Talley, for pausing. You make sure you do look, don't you go nowhere. I want to thank you for being a part of our show. Make sure you are following her on all social media platforms. You see her name right here, right here, right here. Even go
Yes,
over to LinkedIn. She's on all social media platforms. So you can learn more about this young lady and support
yes,
the things that she is
do.
doing in her community to look help other up and coming students. And look, one of those
Yes,
students could actually be yours. So make sure you check her out online. We appreciate you. You know, I love you. I love you. I love you. And
yes. Thank you for
look,
having
as we get ready to get out of here, we want to thank Dr. Talley. I'll see you in just a moment, Dr. Talley. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me for another episode of You First. That's right. It is about you, and you. Think about some of the things that you've heard shared here, whether you're overwhelmed, if you have to retrain your brain. Remember, we teach people how to treat us every single day. And sometimes that teaching has to start with who? With you first. I love getting to do what I do. And if it's some things that you want to know, be sure to send us a message here. Make sure you are following me, Shawanna Kennedy. I am Shawanna K on all platforms. I am Shawanna K on all platforms. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to subscribe. I love you guys being here with me. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you. Look, our sponsors, they're going to be looking at me like you got to get the heck out of there, girl. But again, it is about you, and you. I am Shawanna Kennedy. I appreciate you for joining me for another episode of You First. So until next time, I'll see you then.